Tell me, are you afraid that in a year from now, you'll be exactly where you are now? Are you feeling stuck and frustrated? And you know you want to achieve more, but you're just not sure how.
Or perhaps you're unclear of your purpose and you're really not sure what you want to accomplish.
Or maybe you are someone who has set some pretty lofty goals, started taking action, and who may or may not have had some success, but you know that there's something missing and that you could be achieving more. Because after all, you're a lot like us. And you know that there's a whole lot more that the world has to offer and that you deserve it, right? Yeah. Well, in today's video, we want to share with you 3 life lessons that we have learned and have implemented that has radically transformed our lives. We're actually going to be sharing with you 3 key things that helped us courageously leave our United States Army career. We have combined service of 20 years together. And then after that, I also worked in corporate America where I had a 401k, paid time off, healthcare, and year-end bonuses, and that steady paycheck, on the 1st and the 15th. Well, we're going to share with you 3 things that have helped us completely let go of those and step into our own power to create our own 6-figure business.
So hi, my name is Javon Luna and I'm a transformational specialist.
And I'm Molly Ann Luna. I'm a business success strategist and creator of the Income Amplifier. Now, I want you to take note right now because I'm going to go ahead and share with you those 3 main takeaways, 3 things that you can be doing right now to radically transform your life.
And those 3 things are: you need to demand more from yourself, you need to choose differently in your life, and ultimately, you just need to follow your curiosity. That easy. It's very, very simple, but not necessarily easy to actually execute.
Here's how we came to this conclusion, that these are the 3 things that you need, no matter what situation or scenario you're in right now. If you can really ponder on these 3 things and take action, you will radically transform your life. So we're going to share with you our own story about how we left our corporate gigs and moved out to Los Angeles with our 2 dogs and just a few moving boxes, and really knowing not that much about business building and knowing literally no one in California and building a 6-figure brand within 6 months.
So first, we had to choose differently. That simple. I was in the military. She was working a corporate job. There was their ups and there was the downs, and ultimately it got to a point where the downs started to outweigh the ups in the job. And I felt stuck personally, and I had to recognize that the only person who's going to get me out of this feeling of unstuck and dissatisfaction was me. The ball was always in my court, and it was just up to me to simply choose differently. What am I going to do? If you're in a position where you're stuck, you can choose to be unstuck.
It's hard to recognize that when you're in the moment, because what we're looking back on right now is about 2011. My 8 years in the United States Army had come to an end. I was now working full-time as a certified financial advisor for a banking institution. And while I was proud and my ego was I've got this fancy job title and a 401k and year-end bonuses, I was so miserable. I was literally chained, headset to my desk, taking in call after call after call, processing mutual funds. And I just was so unhappy. At the same time, Javon had just re-upped and had committed to, 20 years?
Essentially.
He had signed a contract that he was going to finish out his military career up to at least 20 years. And around this time as well, we happened to got pregnant. It was planned. We were very excited to be parents. And I was just at my breaking point. I knew that I did not want to be a full-time working mom and be having to put my child in daycare. And I already knew I was just really unhappy in the corporate world because I wasn't being my own boss. And what ended up happening was that Javon had got new orders to move from Colorado to Arizona. And so I quit my job. I quit my job. I'm newly pregnant. I'm thinking, great, we're going to move to Arizona. We're going to start our family. I'm going to take on my new role as mama. I'll figure out what I'm going to do for work and navigate that a little bit later. I'm going to fully show up and support Javon on his 20-year career. Well, what ended up happening was the day that we were moving to Arizona, unfortunately, I had a miscarriage. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, it really sent me into a depression because now I no longer was employed, and I thought I was moving to Arizona to start raising my family, and no baby was on its way. And Javon, when we showed up to Arizona, you're thinking what as far as where your career was going to go, what your life was going to look like?
Honestly, I really didn't know. I didn't have like a target. I didn't have a goal at that time. And to be honest with you, like after the miscarriage on the way up there, I was a little bit distraught myself. I was kind of questioning what was I doing? Like why am I here?
And through all of our pain and confusion and just trying to navigate, from my perspective, Javon was going down to that duty station in Arizona. It was going to be a non-deployable unit, meaning they weren't going to be able to go to war, which he had just come off of another tour of duty in Afghanistan. And so it was supposed to be our time to really just connect as a family and to just really focus on just the mission at hand. But we both found ourselves just completely unhappy and dissatisfied with life. And through that, I started following my curiosity, if you will. And I started getting into fitness because honestly, I was like in such emotional pain that I needed a way to kind of let that stress out.
Now, I would say you got into fitness because I had gotten into fitness.
I think that because you would like drag me to the gym because you knew like, come on, babe, you need to get up, you need to move your body.
I just needed an outlet, and something about just getting in motion and involving your body can kind of get you through some things symbolically. And
you invited me to choose differently and get up and move my body.
So I invited her to the gym with me, and it became something that we did as side-by-side time, and it ultimately kind of built our relationship, and it kind of allowed us to be stronger, to have something that we shared together. And we got curious about the fitness industry, and we started to go on YouTube and look up, and realizing that there's a huge community of fitness personalities we never even knew about.
People make a ton of money in the fitness world. We had no clue.
Not a clue at all. I thought it was just pick heavy things up, put them down, eat right, and that was the end of it. But no, it's a huge business. Didn't even think about it. So we got curious one day, and we found out about a Fit Expo, and we decided, you know what, we're going to take the weekend, we're going to drive to California, and let's see what this fitness world's all about. Fell in love with the sunny skies, the ocean, the beautiful fit people and their personalities, and for me it was like the sun had just came up. I see homeless people on the beaches and they're like happy, and I'm just sitting here like, if these people have no home, don't know where their next meal is coming from, and they're happy, that's what I want. I want that type of happiness right there. And I looked at Molly and I said, you know what, we might just have to cut this military tenure short and just go for it. And I came back, I filled out the paperwork, and I got out of the military, moved to California, and 90 days, 120 days later, we were on our way to a very successful business.
Yeah, and it all came from that moment of just realizing, like, we thought, well, what do we have to complain about? The United States Army was covering our housing, was giving us a food stipend and a clothing stipend, I believe. And, you're getting your regular paycheck.
Right.
And so we were comfortable. But we decided that we wanted to demand more of our lives. Like, we were grateful for it, but we were also unhappy and we felt stuck. We weren't expressing ourselves creatively. And of course, there's nothing really more alluring than the Santa Monica beach, right? So we just decided that we're going to choose differently. We had no clue how you would be able to end your 20-year contract and how we'd ever be able to afford rent in Los Angeles. But what we did was we drove the 9-hour drive home, and we just kept asking the questions of what if? Imagine if. And we started to put together a really smart action plan that allowed us to still stay working. I think we stayed working, or you were working. I was still doing like a side hustle fitness stuff, training clients and whatnot, for about 3 or 4 months. And we got ourselves together.
Put together a plan for how much we were going to have to save. we said to ourselves, okay, we need to start from where we are, not from what we want to be. And we said, okay, we're going to need to probably set aside this amount of money. So what can we cut back on? What do we not need? What do we need? And then we put together that plan, and we exercised that plan until it was time to leave. So when we arrived to California, we weren't essentially hurting, financially, so to speak. We were set up. We understood that things were going to be more expensive. I personally didn't understand how much more expensive. She had a bigger
we had paid, I think, maybe $800 or $900 tops for a 3-bedroom house, and then to move to Los Angeles and pay for a 1-bedroom at $2,400 was our first rent. But thankfully, because of our tenacity and a lot of the skills that we learned with our time in corporate America and within the United States Army, it radically transformed our lives. We earn more money than we've ever made before. We now both have very flexible lifestyles, and I have the freedom and the luxury to be able to stay home and raise my baby and then work when I want to work. And it's awesome.
Indeed it is. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a great story. It's inspirational. It's beautiful. But that's you. I can't do that. I can't walk away from my 9-to-5 job.
I have a family to raise. I have way too many bills to pay.
Exactly. And I'm here to tell you, you don't necessarily have to, but truly you can do whatever you want to do. No one is holding you prisoner. And if someone is, let us know so we can call the cops for you. But no one is holding you hostage. This is your life. You're behind the wheel. You are the one that is driving your life. So maybe you can't leave your 9-to-5 job right now. Maybe you do have a lot of bills that you need to take care of. So what I recommend you do is still start from where you are and not where you want to be. If you have to stay in this 9-to-5 job because you have kids and you have bills and all these different things going on, develop a plan from where you are. Ask yourself, what changes can I make now to begin to better my life? How can I demand more from myself in this current situation and put it into action? And then build upon that and build upon that. And before you know it, you can build yourself out of your 9-to-5 job and pay off your bills and go do the thing you truly want to do full time. Don't let your current circumstances be your excuse. You just need to create a plan from your current circumstances. That's all.
Yeah, and what it really comes down to is mostly identifying what it is you really want. So get really excited, because in the next video, we are actually going to teach you a really smart strategy to help you identify what it is you want and why you want it.
Okay, so what I want you to do now is take a screenshot of this and head on over to the Legacy Leaders Division Facebook page, and I want you to leave a comment telling us about one takeaway that you got from this video.
And then be on the lookout in your inbox, because we'll be sending you the next lesson very soon.